So very good morning to all the students of class plus 2C. Yes, beta, we were doing this chapter, Evans, Tries and O level. Who will tell me the meaning of O level here? I told you already. Webhub, have you attended that class that day when introduction was given? So you can tell us what is the meaning of O level here.
It's an exam.
It's an exam, very good. So Evans is, yes, exam in German language, exactly, Rasika, very good. O level is the base level, fine, in the beginning as if we say. Wait. Chalo. So let me give the brief introduction once again. Characters, protagonist, James Roderick Evans is the full name, fine, and general of HM prison, Oxford. He's equally, you can say, important character in this after Evans, clear? So he's also one of the protagonists. Then we have secretary of exam, who will be arranging everything for the exam of Evans. Then McCleary, who's the invigilator, and Jackson and Stephens are the prison officers who will be given the duty to look forward to take care of Evans in the jail. Okay. So these are the characters or bhi hai, but we will be doing when they will be appearing in the story. Okay. So Evans, ab tak humne kya padha tha? That Evans is kleptomaniac. Kleptomaniac is habit of stealing the things without any need. Clear? So he keeps on stealing the things and petty thievery. You can say he's not that kind of criminal kind of person, but he's very smart. Fine. And he is imprisoned in HM prison. And he wants to appear for O-level German exam, and general calls the secretary of exam, fine, and exam cell for arranging that exam for him. So yahan tak humne padha tha abhi, only 1 or 2 pages, fine. So now the thing is, Evans, being very smart, and nobody can stop a prisoner to if he wants to take his education further. So he's taking classes of German language, and this is the time he has to take the exam also. So being single in student, or you can say being single person, he will be appearing in the exam. Even then, general has to make arrangements. So he calls the secretary of exam cell, and both the persons are conversing with each other about the exam. Secretary asked the general that what sort of man he is. Then general tells him he's a kleptomaniac and he's not that criminal that he could kill anyone and all. No such criminal records, because secretary was making sure that everything is fine, or nothing can happen to the person to whom they will be sending for conducting the exam. So then he tells that invigilator will be sent by us. You arrange the room and everything, and conversation was called off. Fine. So Jackson and Stephens will be taking care of this prison. So we will be now continuing further. I'm going to share the screen. Please have a look. आप अपनी बुक्स भी बेटा साथ में खोल के रखिए. Is it visible, beta? See, dramatis personae already discussed. ठीक है, ये characters ये वाले बाद में आएंगे, Carter and Mr. Bell and all. So let's continue. So this conversation is going on. Rasika, will you read it for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, beta. Continue. That's it. Say read karna. I have highlighted already. Are you there, beta? That's a chap called Ivan. जब तक रसिका आती है, let me continue.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, beta, yes.
Ma'am, from where I have to continue?
That's it. That's the next page, but the
Okay,
second page
ma'am.
only we were reading, I guess.
That's it. That's it. Chap called Evans started night classes in O-level German last September. Says he's dead keen to get some sort of academic qualification. Is he any good? He was the only one in the class, so you can say he's had individual tuition all the time. Really, would would have cost him a packet if he would be outside.
So they are talking, this is the conversation going on between secretary and general. So he is telling him that he has already started taking night classes in O-level German last September. And now, he shows that he is very much interested in taking his academic qualification further. So he's just asking about him, what sort of person he is. And he says that's jolly kind of you, and that you are giving him a chance. कौन ऐसे chance देता है? Single person is going to appear in the exam. ये हम पढ़ चुके हैं, फाइन, बट मैंने यहाँ से इसलिए कंटिन्यू किया सो दैट देयर इज अगेन
Yes,
सम
ma'am.
कनेक्शन, फाइन.
Presumably से करना था, ma'am.
नेक्स्ट पेज बेटा.
Ma'am, no, ma'am. Previous one, presumably से start करना
स्टार्ट इट
था.
देन, यू स्टार्ट रीडिंग फ्रॉम.
ये हाँ जी.
यस.
Presumably, said the secretary, you can arrange a room where. No problem. He's in a cell on his own. If you have no objections, he can sit the exam in there. That's fine. And we would easily get one of the persons from Saint Mary Max to invigilate. If that's fine, yes. They seem to have a lot of persons there, don't they?
So
The
let me
two men
continue. Wait,
chuckled.
wait, wait. So secretary says that you can, secretary of exam cell says that you need to arrange a room, but general says that that's okay. We already have a cell in which Evans is residing, so we can use that room as examination, or you can say examination room. So he says that you should not have much trouble keeping him incommunicado. Should you? So means they are saying that there should be no much of the things, because it can be again a sneaking chance for him. He could run away and all. So they are just saying that we will be sending one of the parsons from Saint Mary Max. So parsons are, I already told you, like parsons from the church and all that. So he says we will be appointing one parson for this duty to as an invigilator. So governor chuckled politely. He says, slowly cradled the phone. So conversation went off. So he says that you need not worry about this thing. We will arrange everything. So secretary of exam is asking for the arrangement, and he says, general says we will do it. So read the next page.
Evans the break, as the prison officers called him, thrice he would escape from prison, and but for the recent wave of unrest in the maximum security establishments up north, he would not now be gracing the governor's premises in Oxford. And the governor was going to make absolutely certain that he would not be disgracing them. Not that Evans was a real burden, just a persistent nagging presence. He would be all right in Oxford, though. The governor would see to that, would see to it personally. And besides, there was just the possibility that Evans was genuinely interested in O-level German.
Just a slight pause.
Just a,
So
just
Evans,
a slight pause.
this you should know that Evans was also called Evans the Break. Why? Because he's more into breaking the jail and he runs away without even anyone's knowledge. तो वो famous है इस नाम से, Evans the Break, and all the prison officers call him by this name only. Why? Thrice he had escaped from Teen Bar. Already he had escaped from the prison for the recent wave of unrest in the maximum security establishments abroad. So he is famous for this thing that he runs away from the jail. So he says that he wouldn't be disgracing them. Actually, his presence is nagging, very much annoying for the people. Fine. So governor is, that's why governor is so much, getting into this case personally. He's calling the examination cell and everything because he knows that if he again runs for the fourth time, that will be the biggest disgrace. So that's why maybe they are thinking maybe that man genuinely wants to, go for that O-level German exam, or he's just passing the time. They don't know. But they just want to give him a chance कि okay, अगर इसको पढ़ना है तो let him give a chance. So just a slight possibility, बहुत कम possibility है कि वो भागेगा. So at 8:30 p.m. on Monday 7th June, Ivan's German teacher shook him by the hand in the heavily guarded recreational block just across from D wing. So wings बने होते हैं, rooms बने होते हैं. वहां पे उसका टीचर आता है जर्मन लैंग्वेज का, and then conversation is guten Glück her events. So this is the, you can say, German words. आके उसको wish कर रहा है वो Evans को in German. Pardon, I said good luck. उसने उसको wish किया है good luck. Actually is wishing him for exam. See, Evans को ये भी समझ में नहीं आया. If he has taken classes seriously, even then he could not understand what does guten Glück mean. So he was actually saying good luck. Yes, sir. Rasika, now you will read better.
Yes. Oh, thanks, sir. I mean,
ये सारा बेटा जर्मन लैंग्वेज में.
thanks, Con. You have not a cat in hell's chance of getting through, of course, but I may surprise everybody, said Evans.
Teacher is saying that there is not a single chance कि you will pass this exam. क्योंकि टीचर को पता है that he has not learned a single word. You have not a cat in hell's chance. Cat in hell's chance means not a slight chance is there that you will pass. आगे से इवांस कहता है I may surprise everybody. So what? क्या पता मुझे आता हो. I may give surprise. So he is talking in another way. Giving surprise means that he wants to run away. But how he will do it, that nobody knows. At 8:30,
The following morning, Evans had a visitor, two visitors in fact. He tucked his grubby string vest into his equally grubby trousers and stood up from his bunk, smiling cheerfully. Morning, Mr. Jackson. This is indeed an honor. Jackson was a senior prison officer on D Wing, and he and Evans had already become warm enemies. At Jackson's side stood Officer Stephens, a burly, surly-looking man only recently recruited to profession.
underline these characters now, beta. These two characters, Jackson. This is the character sketch of Jackson, that how he appears. He tucked his grubby string vest into his equally grubby trousers and cheerfully looking at him. Fine. So Jackson जो है, he is an old officer already working there. Then Stephens जो है, a burly surly looking, means he looks very strong and sturdy. He is newly recruited officer. Stephens को अभी job मिली है वहाँ पे. Jackson is the old one and Stephens is the newly recruited officer. Both of them have got the job of looking over Evans. तो उनकी duty है ये. And Jackson nodded curtly. How's our little Einstein this morning? Little Einstein क्यों बोल रहा है वो Evans को? Because Einstein is known for his knowledge and scientific temperament and ideas. So similarly, Evans is also very well known for his ideas and creativity for running away. Maybe it is for wrong purpose, but he's addressing him as little Einstein. Fine. Wasn't it a mathematician, Mr. Jackson? I think he was a Jew, Mr. Jackson. So this conversation is going on between Evans and Jackson. Now continue.
Evans' face was unshaven, and he wore a filthy-looking red and white bobble hat upon his head. Give me a chance, Mr. Jackson. I was just going to shave when you busted.
Yes, continue.
which reminds me, Jackson turned his eyes on Stephens. Make sure you take his razor out of the cell when he is finished scraping that ugly mug of his. Clear? One of these days he will do us all a favor and cut his bloody throat.
So they, for the sake of
For a
taking
few seconds,
precautions,
Evans looked
wait,
thoughtfully
Rasika,
at his
wait. Oh, excuse me. So actually, they're taking all the sharp objects away from Ivan's, because he has razor for his shave, and also they are, for the precaution's sake, they are thinking that he might cut the throat of someone who will be there. So Jackson turned his eyes on Stephens. Make sure you take his razor out of the cell. Being an old officer, Jackson experienced है, and he is giving instructions to Stephens. Fine. उसको कह रहा है कि make sure you take his razor out of the cell when he's finished scraping that ugly mug of his. Ugly mug उसको कह रहा है. He's using razor and mug and everything for his shaving purpose. So Jackson is giving reminder to Stephens कि after he's done shaving, you take away his razor also. No pointed object should be there with him, because it might lead to he can use it for his benefit. Clear? Then for a few seconds.
For a few seconds, Evans looked thoughtfully at the man standing ramrod straight in front of him. A string of Second World War medals proudly paraded over his left breast pocket. Miss Chen, was it you who took any nail scissors away? Evans had
Had
all
always worried about his hands. So, now Ivaz is asking
and
Jackson.
and your nail.
Wait. So Ivaz is, Rasika, you can proceed. For a few seconds, Ivans ko laga ki, this is the man. Jackson has taken my nail cutter and nail filer also. Accordingly, he has taken it away. So he asked, is it you that who took my nail scissors? Ivaz had always worried about his hands. Ivaz was very particular about his hands and all. Rasika, you can mute yourself better. So he asked, and your nail file too. So Jackson कहता है, yes, not only nail scissors but nail file. Filer होता है ना shape देने के लिए nail को. So he has taken every pointed object. Look, for a moment, Ivan's eyes smoldered dangerously. But Jackson was ready for him. Orders of the governor Evans, he leaned forward and leered, his voice dropping to a harsh, contemptuous whisper. You want to complain? Himal shrugged his shoulders lightly. The crisis was over. You have got half an hour to smarten yourself up, Evans, and take that bloody hat off. So Jackson says that this is the order of the governor, that you will get half an hour for your, grooving up and all, and you have already used all the objects. Now nothing will be given to you, and remove that hat also. तूने hat क्यों डाल के रखी हुई है अंदर? You have got half an hour to smarten yourself. So be a who. Evans put his right hand lovingly on top of the filthy woolen and smiled sadly. Do you know, Mr. Jackson, it's the only thing that has ever brought me any sort of luck in life, kind of lucky charm. If you know what I mean today, I thought, well, with the exam and all that. Here, Evans is saying that my lucky charm is my hat. So to please let me wear this hat because I'm appearing for the exam. Clear? तो मुझे डालने दीजिए ये वाली cap. So this is what he is asking him. Actually, there is some plan behind this thing. You will get to know soon. बहुत ही interesting वाला है. Just this once, then Shirley Temple. If there was one thing that Jackson genuinely loved about Evans, it was his long wavy hair and get shaving. At 8:45 the same morning, the Reverend Stuart McLeary left his bachelor flat in Broad Street, had stepped down briskly towards Carfax. The weatherman reported temperatures considerably below the normal for early June, and a long black overcoat and a shallow-crowned clerical hat provided welcome protection from the steady drizzle which had set in half an hour earlier and which now spattered the thick lenses of his spectacles. So this is the appearance of invigilator that McLeary, Stuart McLeary, जो एग्जाम कंडक्ट करने आ रहा है वहां पे उसकी एंट्री हुई है। एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन नाउ, प्लीज बी वेरी विजिलेंट हियर। At 8:45 a.m., Reverend, means respected Stuart McLeary, one of the parsons, he has come wearing long coat, and he's also wearing a hat because it was drizzling outside. And he has reached there half an hour earlier and now spattered the thick lenses of his spectacles. In his right hand, he was carrying a small brown suitcase. उसके हाथ में एक छोटा सा सूटकेस है, which contained all that he would need for his morning duties, including a sealed question paper, envelope, yellow invigilation form, special authentication card from the exam board, a paper knife, a Bible. He was to speak to the Women's Guild that afternoon on the Book of Ruth, and a current copy of the Church Times. It is the name of the newspaper. Please underline this information. This is a question, what was there in the suitcase of McLeary? So this is important. Okay. What was there in the brown suitcase of McLeary? Invigilator के बैग में क्या क्या था? Sealed question paper envelope था, invigilation form था, authentication जैसे ID card होते हैं, that he is from examination board, that ID card and a Bible, because उसको यहाँ के बाद, because he is a parson of the church and after this he had to go somewhere else, so इसलिए इसने Bible भी रखी हुई थी and a copy of Church Times. The 2-hour examination was scheduled to start at 9:15 a.m. So 9:15 से 11:15 तक का टाइम था एग्जाम का, and 8:45 पे invigilator has reached the examination cell. Now we have to see what is going to happen, what Evans is going to do with the invigilator, or what will happen, that is to be seen. Evans was lathering his face vigorously when Stephens brought in 2 small square tables and set them opposite each other in the narrow space between the bunk on the one side and on the other a distempered stone wall. So Evans was, again, he was just doing his face and beard, he was touching it, he was doing the things and all. Stephens, जो है दूसरा officer, newly appointed officer, he brought 2 small square tables and he started making arrangement for the exam. Then he brought 2 hard chairs and whatever was required for the exam in the cell, exam वहाँ पे जहाँ पे है Evans. So Jackson put in a brief final appearance. Behave yourself, laddie. Evans turned and nodded. So why he's laddie to the boy? He's saying laddie means lad. Lad को कहते हैं boy. So Jackson again gives warning to Evans कि behave yourself. Exam शुरू होने वाला है and make sure you behave in a nice way. At these, Jackson pointed to the pinups of Evans turned and nodded again. I was going to take them down anyway. A minister is not he, the chap coming to sit in, I mean. And how did you know that? Asked Jackson quietly. Well, I had to sign some forms, didn't I? कहते एक मिनिस्टर आ रहा है ना अभी मेरा एग्जाम लेने के लिए, राइट? कहता हाउ डू यू नो दैट ही इज अ मिनिस्टर एंड फ्रॉम दैट ही इज अ पार्सन एंड ऑल? तो जैक्सन कहता आई हैव साइंड सम डॉक्यूमेंट्स, दैट्स व्हाई आई नो इट. Evans drew the razor carefully down his left cheek. अभी भी वो shave ही कर रहा है, अपनी left knee swathed in white leather. So while doing his shave, he says, "Can I ask you something, Mr. Jackson? Why did they have to bug me in this cell?" He nodded his head vaguely to a point above the door. Not a very neat job, conceded Jackson. They are not. They don't honestly think I'm going to try to. So he says that why they are bugging me and bothering me in the cell कि यहीं पे मेरा एग्जाम ले रहे हो जहाँ पे मैं सेल में हूँ. They have not arranged any other room for me. So Jackson is not at all interested in questioning of Evans. So he says, but he even gives the answer. They are not taking any chances. They're not going to take any chances. Nobody in his sense would take any chance with you. कहते हैं कि तुम जैसे एक प्रिजनर के साथ तो nobody will take chance कि उसको शिफ्ट करें किसी एग्जामिनेशन सेल में या एग्जाम देने जाए. No. Who's going to listen in? I'll tell you who's going to listen in, lady. It's the governor himself. See, actually, beta, what they are going to do, not only that thing, they have put up a telephonic wire and telephone, they have kept it over there. So they have kept the you can say receiver of the phone. आपने कभी पहले किसी के घर पे लैंडलाइन है अभी भी? Those who are having landline these days, if you have it, then you might be knowing. Landline phones होते थे तो आपको पता ही होगा. You might have seen in your childhood days. So when you keep the receiver on, so what happens, that conversation could be heard easily you can hear the conversation of that person. So they are going to keep the receiver on of the phone, so that whatever conversation goes on between Evans and McCleary, that invigilator, that will be audible to the general. So Jackson is telling him that we have arranged everything for you. When you will be appearing for the exam, even your conversation will be heard by us. तो कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं कर पाएगा. So it is a kind of warning to him. Right? Clear है सबको? So he says, कौन सुनने जा रहा है? I'll tell you who's going to listen in. It's the governor himself. He don't trust you a bloody inch. ना तो वो तुझे ट्रस्ट करता है एक इंच भी, ना मैं करता हूँ. I'll be watching you like a hawk. Hawk, you know that bird whose eyes are very sharp enough to catch the prey. तो कहते हैं जैसे एक hawk नजर रखता है ना अपने शिकार पे. I will be watching you over. Keep your nose clear. He walked towards the door. He was nodded. He would already thought of that. Number 2 handkerchief was lying ready on the bunk, a neatly folded square of off-white linen. Just one more thing, Einstein. What's that? Good luck, old son. कहता चलो वो एक चीज रह गई तुझे good luck बोल देता हूँ. In the little lodge just inside the prison's main gates, the Reverend S. McCleary signed his name neatly in the visitor's book, and then walked side by side with the silent prison officer across the exercise yard to the D wing, where he was greeted by Jackson. The wing's heavy outer door was unlocked, the lock behind them, the heavy inner door the same, and McCleary was handed into Stephen's keeping. अब ये देखिए इतने ज्यादा लॉक्स लगाए हुए उन्होंने. When McCleary, the invigilator, entered the gate, and when he entered, a door was closed. Then again he entered another door. Then again that door was locked. So very tight security. And McCleary is being, you can say, accompanied by one of the officers. फिर वो उसको जैक्सन के पास लेके आते हैं. And now McCleary is going to enter the room of Evans. Get the razor, murmured Jackson. Stephens nodded. कहता आप ले लो इससे सारा सामान. And teacher आ चुका है, invigilator आ चुका है. Exam is going to be started. Well, keep your eyes, kid, clear. Stephens nodded again, and McCleary, his feet clanging up the iron stairs, followed his new guide and finally stood before a cell door, where Stephens opened the peephole and looked through. That's him, sir. Evans, facing the door, sat quietly at the farther of the two tables, his whole attention riveted to a textbook of elementary German grammar. Stephens took the key from its ring, and the cell lock sprang back with a thundered metallic twang. When teacher will be entering the cell, they will be locking them inside, right? They're not going to take any risk कि वो भाग ना जाए. So invigilator and Evans will be sitting and facing each other face to face. And the exam will take place, and they are between, you can say they have locked them. They have taken all the pointed objects from them. अगर आपको question आता है precautions taken by the officers, they have taken all the sharp objects like nail scissors, nail filer, cutter, etc. from him, and they have also locked the door when exam was going on. So that is the arrangement made by. So we will continue from the next page. बेटा tomorrow bell हो चुकी है. Please जितना हुआ है उतना read कर लेना so that it is more clear to you. Have a nice day.